The last restorative approach to try are using restorative questions. And restorative questions are a tool used to process an incident of wrongdoing or conflict with a student. So when a situation has occurred, the person who has created the conflict can take some time and answer these questions with an adult. And the questions that the adult would ask the child are in sequential order. You'd start with what happened, what were you thinking of at the time, what have you thought about since, who has been affected by what you have done, and in what way, what do you think you need to do to make things right? Now, I realize that that is a lot of questions, and sometimes we don't have the time as school staff to answer all these or ask all these questions to a student. So if you are in a position where you are responding to a call and you have the time to ask these questions, I really recommend that you use them. However, if you are not able to ask these questions, I really encourage you to ask what happened as that first response. It is very non-blaming and simply allows the student to share their story. And it really, by asking that question, can really get to the root of the problem and create some really great dialogue between you and the child. Another set of questions that you can ask to someone who has been harmed, or when someone has been harmed, is what did you think of when you realized what had happened? What impact has this incident had on you and others? What has been the hardest thing for you? And what do you think needs to happen to make things right? And these will be, these questions will be in the resource folder for you to find as well if you are interested in using those. So taking it back to community building circles, here is kind of a step-by-step direction that you can follow when creating a circle plan. So if you choose to create a circle plan as part of your assignment for this course, I will share with you how you can do that in the next few slides. But the steps start with, the step-by-step is starting with an opening, welcome and a grounding, 3 to 4 community building questions, and a closing. And then just some reflection questions if you want to, after the circle happens, is just thinking about what happened in the circle and how did my circle keeping promote safety and belonging. So here is an engagement activity that you can choose, and to the right you'll see the circle plan template. So you have that opening, and then you can open with a poem, a quote, a movement, a breathing, or a story. Thinking about that welcome and grounding. Will I have a centerpiece? What will I use as a talking piece? And what question will I start to help build connection? Next, you want to think about next is like the meat of the circle. So thinking about what are going to be your 3 to 4 community building questions you're going to ask that tie in with kind of what is the title of what is the purpose of your circle. So and I'll share some on the next slide to show you what that looks like. There's one for what is friendship, and then another one around relationship building. So what questions are you going to ask to get to kind of the topic of your circle? And then again, thinking about those basic guidelines, having in your circle, what questions will you use to begin? What further questions might be helpful? What questions might draw reflection on what has come up, and then you always want to end with a closing as well. So how will I close my circle? Very similar to the opening. So on your screen is on the left, you have a circle plan focused around the subject being what is friendship. And then on the right is more of a overall deeper, I don't want to say deeper maybe, but just around relationship building. That is in front of you to take a look at so that you have some idea of how are circles created, how is the circle lesson plan, how is it created, and how do I, what are some questions I can ask when trying to create this. So these are also in the resource folder in your Schoology course. And that is all I have for you today around restorative practices. Next, Iman Abdullahi will be talking about mental health. Thank you so much.